It's the season of the dinosaur. The world's top paleontologists dig into Canada's prehistoric past to unearth a living world buried in time.
Bingo! Got dinosaurs.
They'll battle heat and floods and the ticking clock as they track the footsteps of dinosaurs. And the most incredible creatures ever to walk the earth will live again on Dino Hunt. This week on Dino Hunt, two teams race against the rising tides in the Bay of Fundy, Nova Scotia, in search of the dawn of the dinosaur. On the shores of the Minas Basin, the tracker team is hunting for signs of the first dinosaurs to walk this earth before the fossils get washed away.
It is an absolute shame I can't take this back with me.
And at Wasson's Bluff, if the Prosauropod team can get to the bones before they're swept into the sea,
cannot stop the tide.
They might uncover a new species of dinosaur that outlived a global catastrophe.
These animals are the survivors.
The search for Canada's oldest dinosaurs begins in Nova Scotia's Bay of Fundy. The cliffs looking out on the Atlantic are hundreds of millions of years old. Coastal tides are the biggest in the world, and for dino hunters, they're both a curse and a blessing.
It causes some challenge in navigating around the beach, but it also causes all this erosion that's really good for the paleontology.
Dr. Tim Fedak specializes in hunting for the world's earliest dinosaur fossils. He's leading a team that'll be digging deep into the red sandstone at Wasson's Bluff.
You guys are hired, by the way.
Fedak's team will need to work quickly. The site is underwater for most of the year, but over the next 10 days, the tides will be low.
Shovels, rakes, implements of destruction. We don't want to get too carried away digging a big hole. If we can't collect it within the time period we have, the tide's going to come up and wash it away. We cannot stop the tide.
Fedak and his team are searching for the ancestors of the famous long-necked dinosaurs, the Prosauropods. These creatures were among the first dinosaurs to evolve in the Triassic period, over 200 million years ago. T-Rex is closer to us in time than the Prosauropods. Tyrannosaurus rex lived 66 million years ago, but to get back to the time of the Prosauropod, we have to go back an additional 134 million years. And Fedak may have discovered a new species of one of the world's oldest dinosaurs.
For the past 17 years, we've been doing collection work at the site and have identified more and more specimens, and it does appear that this is a new species of Prosauropod dinosaur.
There are at least 12 species of Prosauropod, but paleontologists suspect the number could be much higher. A new genus in the Bay of Fundy could add to the growing list. Since Fedak was last here, tons of rubble have buried the site.
There you go, perfect.
And if they want to find the bones, they may have to dodge the rocks.
This is a dangerous site. Everyone needs to know that, and I don't want anyone hurt.
But the team is willing to take the risk if it means finding a key to the past.
Finding a nesting site or skulls would be very exciting. We always hope for a once-in-a-lifetime find.
If Fedak hopes to find evidence of a new species of Prosauropod, he'd better hurry. He's racing against a rising tide. Across the bay, Tyler Shaw is heading even further back in time, looking for dinosaurs even older than the Prosauropods.
I always say that paleontologists are just little kids that never grew up.
Tyler Shaw is a paleontologist with the local Fundy Geological Museum. He's scouting the shores of the Minas Basin, looking for traces of the world's first dinosaurs. But unlike most of his colleagues, he's more interested in stone than bone. His first stop, Paddy's Island, a site that hasn't been dino hunted in over 20 years.
So this area is Triassic in age. Well, this is just excellently exciting. That's got to be what was Paddy's Island, but we're going to be in luck, I think. All that low ridge running through there should be nice and flat.
Tyler and his colleague Nevin Dow will be searching an area that's underwater for most of the year. But as the world's highest tide ebbs, it exposes a dino hunter's paradise. There are only a few places in the world that have evidence of the first dinosaurs, and Nova Scotia is one of them. The tracker team isn't looking for bones, but something else.
When you see nice flat rocks, that's the place to look for dinosaur prints. One of the things I love with tracks is you can look at them, and if you've got two in a row, you've got movement. If you think of them as frames from a movie, each footprint is a single frame, and as you stick them together, you can start to play back that animal's life. An animal can leave multiple prints during their lifetime. They can only leave one skeleton. Skeletons are really the byproduct of a dead creature. These are the byproduct of life. Unfortunately, as the tide comes in and out, it does eat away at these rocks. No dinosaur yet.
If Tyler finds any tracks here, they'll belong to some of the oldest terrestrial creatures that ever lived. And they lived here. Fossils found along the shores of the Bay of Fundy come from an important period in the Earth's history. 200 million years ago, the Earth's continents were concentrated in one landmass called Pangea. Today's Nova Scotia was at its steamy center. The world was hot, and reptiles ruled. But the humid home of the first dinosaurs wasn't to last. It was shattered by a geological catastrophe that remade the world. Clues to understanding this earth-shattering event can be found in the cliffs on the Bay of Fundy. And no one understands it better than Dr. Paul Olson, who made the first major dinosaur find at this site in 1976.
Standing in front of a cliff of ancient basalt. Basalt is a hardened form of lava, similar to what forms in Iceland today. And in this area, it comprises of evidence of one of the largest mass extinctions in Earth history.
Two extinction events defined the age of the dinosaurs, one at the beginning of their rule and one that ended it. The Triassic mass extinction started with the breakup of Pangea, triggered by volcanic eruptions which likely began in Morocco. Back then, a neighbor of Nova Scotia.
But they were of enormous magnitude, larger than anything we are familiar with today at all, larger than humankind has ever seen.
The eruptions lasted for thousands of years. Lava covered an area as big as the United States. Nova Scotia was buried in molten rock.
Huge amounts of lava, like these cliffs, poured out over the landscape, obliterating all the life in its path, and yielding huge amounts of carbon dioxide and sulfur, ultimately resulting in the extinction of maybe 50 to 75% of all animal and plant life on Earth.
The prosauropods that survived the Triassic mass extinction faced a desolate world, scavenging a burnt-out landscape, subsisting on whatever meager plant supply remained. The Prosauropod team is looking for clues to their survival in the bones at Wasson's Bluff.
This is a very unique site in Canada, in North America, and in the world because of the specific time period. This is immediately after the end Triassic mass extinction. So these animals are the survivors. This is the dawn of the dinosaurs.
But if the bones aren't recovered in time, the Bay of Fundy will reclaim the ancient specimens. The team has spent 2 days removing the top layer of erosional debris. And with only a few days left to identify a new species of prosauropod, they need some heavy-duty help.
Bingo! Got it! Woo. Nice. I think you just discovered our bone bed there, Jack. Thank you very much. So this is a prosauropod dinosaur vertebra. That's just the back part. It's been buried for 200 million years, and this is the first time it's seeing the air again.
Is this important to you, what we've just done?
Feels pretty important to me.
He's found his first fossil. It belongs to a creature that lived and died 134 million years before T-Rex and Triceratops and 200 million years before human beings.
This is a 3 to 4 meter long animal, and we're at the tip of the tail. We've got to expose quite a bit. If it's isolated, there's going to be more isolated bits around. So right now, it's just get all this erosional debris off and start figuring out how we're going to do some collecting.
Fedax found the tip of the tail, and if he's lucky, there's a skull at the other end. Two teams face off against the rising tides in the Bay of Fundy. At Wasson's Bluff, the Prosauropod team has days to identify a new species of dinosaur.
Fingers are crossed that we'll see a skull. That's the ultimate thing we want to see.
And in the Minas Basin, Tyler Shaw is climbing the walls to track some of the world's earliest dinosaurs.
It means that these are the grandfather of all terrestrial life.
On the beaches of Minas Basin in the Bay of Fundy, Nova Scotia, the tracker team is hunting for evidence of some of the world's oldest dinosaurs.
Well, this is just excellently exciting.
And at Wasson's Bluff, Tim Fedak's Prosauropod team has hit pay dirt.
Bingo! Got it!
But they're racing against a rising tide, looking to claim their prize. For Fedak's team, the fastest way to the dig site is straight downhill. 200 million years ago, this area was a desolate wasteland. A volcanic catastrophe had killed off the majority of all life on Earth. And yet here, the Prosauropod survived.
Everything that we see at Wasson's Bluff is found above the North Mountain basalt, so we know we're in the early Jurassic time frame.
The Prosauropod team hopes the bones here will provide them with clues as to how these dinosaurs beat the overwhelming odds, and if they actually belong to a new species. They've found the tip of a tail, but have only days to see if there's a skull buried at the other end.
The skull is really the prize and most important piece in a research question about trying to identify what type of dinosaurs these are.
Well, the first couple of days it was a lot of shoveling and not much finding, so now we're going at a pretty good rate.
So while collecting this bone, there was a small platy element, part of the lower jaw. Now we don't have any teeth. That would really confirm that it was lower jaw, but the shape is right.
Spotting 200-million-year-old bones is like finding a needle in a haystack. But Fedak started his career as a sculptor and medical illustrator, and he can tell what bones look like in 3D, no matter how well they're hidden.
So maybe you want to come down around and I'll show you what this bone looks like. You just got to get your eye used to seeing that.
To imagine that something was here and had died here 200 million years ago, it's incredible. It's like I'm holding a piece of history.
And the right piece of history could mean the discovery of a new species of Prosauropod dinosaur in the Bay of Fundy.
So I think I found something there. Not sure. It kind of looks...
It looks like a little bit of bone fragment. Yeah, it might be a bit of tooth.
200 million years ago, food was scarce. Mass extinction had killed off most plant life. So to survive, these early dinosaurs needed to be able to digest even the toughest vegetation.
They would bite off ferns or conifer trees. They didn't chew it like a cow does. They had gastroliths, stomach stones that ground up the plant material just like birds do today.
The discovery of a tooth means Fedak is one step closer to finding what he came here for, a skull.
We do prioritize. What we'd really want to find is a skull.
The Prosauropod team knows exactly what they're looking for, but the Bay of Fundy's first fossils were discovered by accident. In the 19th century, geologists came to Joggins Cliffs in search of coal. They found 315-million-year-old fossilized trees, and what was inside them would change science forever.
This site was visited by Sir Charles Lyell and his accomplice, Sir William Dawson, native Nova Scotian, in the mid-1800s. And they made one of the most important paleontological discoveries of all time, and really is a starting point for the story of dinosaurs. This is the exact spot that Lyell and Dawson made their discovery, in the exact same way, where a tree had tumbled down. They were investigating it, And lo and behold, in this tree, they found bones that pushed the fossil record of tetrapods, reptiles and amphibians, farther back in geologic time than had been known up to that point.
The bones were those of a small lizard-like creature that lived 300 million years ago, 70 million years before the first dinosaurs, and 234 million years before T-Rex. Charles Darwin used the discovery as evidence for his theory of evolution, and they remain the earliest signs of terrestrial life ever found.
So what's especially significant about these reptiles at Joggins is that these are the ancestors of the dinosaurs and all reptiles alive today.
Long before mammals, birds, and dinosaurs roamed the earth, the first four-legged creatures, tetrapods, took their first steps onto land. Their fossilized footprints give us information about how these terrestrial vertebrates lived. And because they often moved in shallow water, these tracks aren't easy to find. It takes experts like Tyler Shaw who know where and when to look.
The reason we've come out at night is tracks are really dependent on the light angle. You can't control the angle of the sun, but we can control the angle of our nice lanterns here. This rock here, there's a lot of water to it because of all the ripple marks, and if we hold the light at low angles to it, we can start to see them.
Today, it's solid rock. But millions of years ago, long before the dinosaurs, this was a sandy seashore. Over time, tectonic plate movement pushed up the rocks, hiding the fact that this ancient beach was far from deserted.
The animal we're looking at was moving through a shallow amount of water, pushing itself up and dragging its body along. So you're looking at an animal with a distance of 70 or 80 centimeters between 1 foot and the subsequent next footfall, at least the size of a German Shepherd. It means that these are the grandfather of all terrestrial life, all the animals that walk about. This animal would then give rise to our early amphibians. They in turn give rise to the early reptiles, which Dawson and Lyell found at Joggins, and finally into our dinosaurs.
After trailing their ancestors by lamplight, Tyler Shaw's tracker team is hoping to find some of the first dinosaur prints of all time, before time runs out. And the Prosauropod team races to find evidence of a new species in a tricky dig site.
There is perhaps no more complicated place to be
before the tide comes in. At Wasson's Bluff, the Prosauropod team has just 4 days left to find the bones they need in order to identify a new species of dinosaur.
What we'd really want to find is a skull.
And in the Minas Basin, the tracker team is on the hunt, waiting for their big break. A week ago, Paddy's Island, Nova Scotia was covered in water. And 220 million years ago, it was inhabited by dinosaurs.
This is actually a really good spot for the boat.
Tyler Shaw and Nevin Dow have been waiting patiently to walk the same path as these ancient animals. And it might just pay off.
Usually I carry a pile of chicken bones for good luck. I figure it's sympathetic magic, but we haven't had chicken dinner in a while, so.
Looks like it's not his lucky day.
Ay, ay, ay. De nada. At a distance, it looked footprint-ish, but close up, it was not. Oh, geez, crabs. Hey, got it. There is a trabus. There's the footprint. There is toe, toe, and toe. There's the handprint. There's a bigger one. We got dinosaurs. Awesome.
But what kind of dinosaur left these tracks? One clue comes from time stamping the rocks that hold the print. They're 220 million years old. That means whatever left this track was among the first dinosaurs to appear on Earth.
I think this is the break line for that. Yeah. Yeah, shift that. There's my dinosaur footprint there. So it's walking up there. There, yeah. There we go. We have here at least 1, 2, 3 or more of these plant-eating dinosaurs.
The size and shape of these tracks suggest that they were made by a dinosaur called a Atrapus, a Triassic dinosaur that lived 220 million years ago. Atrapus was quadrupedal and had bird-like hips.
This is a small fellow, standing probably about this tall. He's going to be young. This is a bit older, not fully grown adult yet. So this is somewhere in the mid. This is juvenile, the disruptive teen years, basically. How cute are you? Like, they're just so almost fresh. You almost expect to just see him just standing over there looking back at me, wondering what the heck I'm doing. You just want to reach out and kind of stroke underneath its chin. But it's been dead for over 200 million years.
Atrapus is known only from its fossilized tracks. No bones have ever been found, so track hunters like Tyler Shaw have provided all the information we know about one of the world's first dinosaurs.
They don't have fingers like we have. They're more closer knit together. They walk on all 4 feet, but most of the time, they clap their arms up and just run along on 2 feet.
The early dinosaurs' nimble feet helped them survive in a world of nasty predators. But 201 million years ago, their world turned against them. At the start of the Triassic period, the Bay of Fundy area was situated at the equator, landlocked in Pangea. As the supercontinent broke apart, earthquakes rocked the region. They hammered at the cliffs, cracking them open. 200 million years later, these fractures and crevices are still chiseled into the rock face, posing serious challenges to Tim Fedak and his crew.
There is perhaps no more complicated place to be in terms of structure. I refer to these as earthquake dinosaurs because the dinosaur bones have been faulted and chopped up by major earthquakes during the time. These bones were buried and another earthquake happened and cut through the bones. That makes this site fairly frustrating to work.
The highest tides in the world also mean that the fossils found along these shores are saturated with seawater and extremely fragile.
When the bones are in the bedrock here at the site, they're mush. They basically have the consistency of cream cheese. So you do have to be very careful with them.
The bones are so fragile, they need glue to keep them together.
The preservation of even one bone in the fossil record, I think, is like winning the lottery. Having your whole skeleton preserved is like winning 2 lotteries, one week after the other.
Digging for 200-million-year-old dinosaurs is painstaking and frustrating work, but Fedak and his team know the prize is worth the effort.
Lee has found a nice rib. Kimball found a smaller rib called a gastralia. Both of those are very small.
While looking for a skull, they've unearthed what could be another big find.
In the past 15 years, we've been collecting articulated material from here, adults, subadults, but we have been always looking and keeping our eye out for very, very young hatchlings or egg material. So there's always the chance that we're going to stumble upon a breeding site.
The team will keep searching for a skull, but now there's also the possibility of uncovering a breeding site. And that's a reason to celebrate, Bay of Fundy style.
They're ready, guys.
Lunchtime. How about for wedge?
Dogs and clams are not a good idea. I've tested that theory.
Cheers. Can't do this in Alberta.
That's right.
Clam bake's over. The Prosauropod team digs in with renewed vigor. They're hunting a new species of Prosauropod, and maybe they'll find the nursery.
Oh, ideally, we would like to find a nest site. That would be perfect.
And on Paddy's Island, the tracker team is close to finding the footprints of the world's oldest dinosaurs, if they don't lose them to the ocean floor.
It is an absolute shame I can't take this back with me.
At Wasson's Bluff, time is running out just as the Prosauropod team finds itself on the verge of a breakthrough.
There's always the chance that we're going to stumble upon a breeding site.
And in the Bay of Fundy, The tracker team is desperate to get their 220-million-year-old dinosaur prints off Paddy's Island before the incoming tide returns them to the ocean. The tracks are stamped into heavy slabs of rock that have been broken up by the force of the waves.
I'm trying to figure out how we can cut weight down, but our boat driver would probably freak right out if I brought it back. It is an absolute shame I can't take this back with me.
No bones from the Atrapus dinosaur have ever been found, so tracks like these are extremely valuable in determining how one of the world's first dinosaurs behaved.
Flip it back over so that it hopefully protects it. So I'm going to try to convince someone to come back in a boat with nobody else in it and bring this out.
But if they wait too long, the powerful undertow could carry these rocks and the prints on them out to sea, or smash them against the ocean floor. So Tyler's using every second he has to figure out as much as possible about the elusive Atrapus.
If you take 4 times the length of the footprint, so the distance from the tip of the toe to the back of the heel, and times that by 4, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, his hips sit about here. And that's the distance from its hips to its shoulder. So then you tack on, probably that same length for a tail. So about to here, a little bit for a head, and you've got the length of an animal. So from just this little information, even a set of 3 footprints, as long as they're sequential, we're able to start to fill in what this animal looks like. It's starting to become a living, breathing creature.
Fossilized prints show dinosaurs on the move and a moving picture of their behavior. Dino prints can be found all over the world, usually in areas near streams and rivers. This makes Tumbler Ridge, BC, the perfect hunting ground for West Coast track star Dr. Richard McRae.
A skeleton is just a pile of bones. I mean, there's a lot you can get from it, but tracks are made by living animals. The closest that we're going to get to looking at dinosaurs other than a time machine.
McRae works with his wife, paleontologist Lisa Buckler. A few weeks ago, they found a new set of mysterious dinosaur tracks. But getting to them is dangerous work.
Did you bring a radio with you?
No. We're going into a new discovery. It's in a place that we call Dinosaur Gorge. What we have is a near vertical track face. The tracks would have been formed near a coastal plain 130, 140 million years ago until mountain building began in this area. So the North American plate ran into other plates, and it's kind of like running a car into a brick wall, and the hood crumples. So you have tracks that are, horizontal, but with mountain building, they go vertical sometimes.
To get to the tracks, Rich has to scale 60 feet of crumbling rock face. And he needs to work fast, or he'll be climbing in the dark.
The light's only good for about an hour because it's such a narrow canyon.
Judging by the age of the rock face, the prints were likely fossilized 140 million years ago. But it will take a closer look to determine who made them.
We don't know yet what else is up there. About 40% of the footprints are visible from the ground, so we're getting up on ropes.
This kind of dinosaur hunting requires a paleontologist with rock climbing skills and a willingness to take risks.
Any kind of danger that you have working on a regular site, multiply it by 10 or even 100 when you're working on a vertical face.
I cannot take my eyes off of what the rope and the webbing are doing for a second, because if I do, that might be the moment that something comes loose and screams down at Rich.
The risk pays off. It's a good-sized print, perfectly embossed in the mountainside. The question is, who made it?
So I'm looking at a track here, 3-toed. Question is this a plant eater or a meat eater? Well, for meat eaters, the footprints are usually longer than they are wide. And this one's a little bit longer than it is wide. The other clue is the meat-eating digits, they have very sharp claws. And these digits look like they have rounded terminations. But the real clue here is that there is a handprint in front of it. And this is definitely a plant-eating dinosaur print.
140 million years ago, plant-eating dinosaurs walked on all fours. But meat-eaters were theropods, bipeds who hunted on 2 feet.
So I'm just going to go down so we can see very large track. And there's the outline of the back of one of the outer digits, tapers off to a fine tipped claw. There's the length of this, and that's I think 62 or 63 centimeters long, and it's nowhere near as wide. This is certainly a large meat-eating dinosaur.
We only have a couple of specimens that are from that time period, so having a exposure of rock like this that has a large amount of tracks on it, it's going to give us a lot of information about what kinds of animals were roaming around this part of BC.
The tracks were laid down at the end of the Jurassic era. Aside from the fossils in Nova Scotia, these are the oldest traces of dinosaurs anywhere in Canada. In the Bay of Fundy, Tim Fedak's Prosauropod team might have a new lead on the dawn of the dinosaur.
The skull contains the most information, but animals change considerably through their growth from young hatchling to fully grown adult, and that change is really important to understand evolutionarily.
They're still hoping for a skull, but they've added another find to their wish list, a Prosauropod nest.
We're keeping an eye out for bones that are from much smaller animals that might suggest a breeding area where there might be preserved eggs or smaller skeletons.
Oh, ideally, we would like to find a nest site. That would be perfect.
If the team uncovers hatchlings with the same features as the adults they found here, they'll have the proof they need to name a new species of Prosauropod.
We want to be very cautious about naming a new species on a single isolated growth stage, whether that's adult or young. It's good to complete that picture and try to identify, to link the adult skeleton with younger individuals.
A Prosauropod nesting site in the Bay of Fundy would be the first of its kind in North America. But if Fedak and his Prosauropod team don't find it fast, it will be swept away forever. And the tracker team has to get their prints off the island before they sink like stones. On Paddy's Island in the Bay of Fundy, Tyler Shaw's tracker team has identified some incredible footprints. But if they slip back into the sea, he'll lose hard evidence of the world's first dinosaurs. And at Wasson's Bluff, the clock is running out on a potential new discovery.
Time's ticking. We have about a day and a half.
Tim Fedak's Prosauropod team is working fast to see if they've found a major discovery, a nesting site of Prosauropods, which would be the first of its kind in North America.
We have some great sites in South Africa where full nests have been collected, embryos still in the eggs, and they've been fully prepared out.
In 2005, a 190-million-year-old nesting site was uncovered in South Africa. It predated previously known sites by 100 million years. The discovery revealed evidence of complex nesting behaviors, like group nesting and the repeated use of nesting sites by a single species. The highly organized nature of the nests suggests that the mother may have arranged the eggs after she laid them. The sites also revealed surprising changes in Prosauropod growth sequences.
There's different aspects of the skeleton that grow faster than the others. The skull actually had a slower growth rate, whereas the neck had a much faster growth rate. The animal seems to change its posture from walking on all fours to adults that walked mainly on their back legs.
Linking a hatchling to an adult could provide the Prosauropod team with all the information they need to declare a new species of Prosauropod. But time is running out.
We had bone very close by, so if I go in and there's more articulated material, it should show up fairly quickly.
Fedak needs to work faster and dig harder if he's going to beat the tide. He's turned to power tools to speed things up.
But the jackhammer might not respond well to this rock face, so we just have to see.
Fortunately, Fedak catches a break.
So we just lifted this up and just found another bone fragment here.
There's bone exposed here and on this other piece, and they just go together like that.
Before Fedak can figure out exactly what kind of bone he's found, he discovers he's got an audience, a local tour group led by young colleague Tyler Shaw.
Everywhere you see the little bags with orange flagging tape tied to them are pieces of bone they have found. Somewhere in my little handy-dandy book. They're creatures that kind of look like this. Probably not exactly this fellow, but close enough. So the star of this excavation is Dr. Tim Fedak.
How are you today? What? This is a bone that we just collected today, and it's a little bit of rib bone. It's been buried in this stone for 200 million years.
Thanks to the work of Fedak, Shaw, and local dinosaur hunters, this area of Nova Scotia is becoming a mecca for dino fans who flock to the little town of Parsborough to check out the museum. And just a few streets away is another kind of museum, run by amateur bone digger Eldon George.
That's my pet.
Eldon George is a local legend and a rock star among geologists. He's been combing the beaches, collecting rare fossils and minerals since he was 8 years old.
I found these on March the 31st, 1983.
What Eldon found that day made history.
I happened to come across this in 3 inches of water. I thought there was bird tracks. And then I realized that I was looking at something very rare.
He was right. These tiny tracks were made 205 million years ago by a baby coelophysis. They're among the smallest dinosaur tracks ever discovered. Over 200 million years ago, this baby coelophysis shared its homeland with the Atreopus dinosaur. They roamed and fed in a world of warm, fertile jungles. But when that world disappeared, they disappeared with it. But the dinosaurs Tim Fedak is uncovering somehow survived. They managed to eke out an existence in a harsh post-extinction world. Fedak's mission to prove that a new species of Prosauropod once lived here and lived through the cataclysm is coming down to the wire. He needs definitive evidence, a skull or nesting site, and he's getting close.
We have 10 elements, that's not too bad, but what we really want to do is make sure that there's no articulated material here that's in danger of being eroded. So we need to collect that if it's here. Time's ticking, we have about a day and a half.
The rest of the bones might be within reach, but for the Prosauropod team, the tide is coming in and time is running out. And in the Bay of Fundy, the tracker team races against the tide to carry out the evidence of Canada's oldest dinosaurs.
This is absolutely amazing.
In the Minas Basin, the tracker team is on a search and rescue mission for ancient Atreopus tracks before the tides wash them away. At Wasson's Bluff, the Prosauropod team has only hours to collect vital information about what might be a new species of dinosaur before the bone bed becomes a seabed. The crew makes one last perilous journey down to recover what they can from the site before the ocean reclaims the beach.
You hear the tide lapping, and it's going to be burying this site.
And to protect their 200-million-year-old fossils, they turn to a centuries-old technique.
So plaster and burlap's been used for hundreds of years.
The Prosauropod team suspects they have the evidence they need to name a new species of one of the world's oldest dinosaurs. But they can't be sure until they get the bones back to the lab. One thing they are sure of, these tiny treasures help tell an epic story. These dinosaurs witnessed one of the worst extinctions our world has ever known. They survived what most other life on Earth could not. The Prosauropods got their cosmic reprieve when Pangea broke apart 200 million years ago. Landlocked deserts became lush new coastlines. Jungles returned, and over time, the Prosauropods evolved into giants.
Prosauropods are the ancestors of what would become the sauropods. the largest animals ever to walk on the Earth.
$200 million years ago, these little dinosaurs had an amazing destiny and left an extraordinary legacy. And now, FEDAC's team is preserving what remains before they're lost at sea. Across the bay, Tyler Shaw has managed another boat trip, solo this time, to retrieve the Atrapus tracks.
I'm just going to try to swing the boat around here.
It's almost hard to believe that, this site hasn't been looked at in 20 years or more. The dinosaur tracks are still fresh and coming out, and it's well worth a trip back. This is absolutely amazing.
For Tyler, a summer of tracking dinosaurs is ending with a win.
Today, I definitely feel like a 3-year-old with a new toy. Even just coming out today, the view alone was worth the price of admission. And on top of that, dinosaur tracks, you can't have much better day. Unless it started raining gold from the sky, I'm as happy as a pig in mud.
Back at Wasson's Bluff, FEDAC's fossils are finally ready to be transported to safety.
Good.
The team packs up, but they're already setting their sights on next year.
I will come back as often as I'm asked.
The experience has been really great for me. I found some bones and I was really excited about it because I never thought I'd ever find something like that.
I was actually thinking before starting this dig that this might be the last time in quite a long time I'd be coming down here, but these beds are actually starting to show some promise.
Even though FEDAC has been working the site for nearly 2 decades, surprising discoveries are made every year. While the ancient bones are carefully loaded for transport, nature begins to reclaim these shores.
All right, let's go. We got to get back to the museum before the tide comes up.
Bye!
And now the hard work begins. It'll take several months of meticulous analysis to determine the exact results of the dig.
These are the oldest dinosaur bones in Canada, so it does take a long time to expose them. But after 9 months now, we can see features in some of the elements that do suggest that this is a new species.
The team's dedication has resulted in a significant discovery, but FEDAC knows that their work in the Bay of Fundy is far from over. In the months to come, the tides will expose more ancient secrets in these cliffs. And he'll be back again, digging through the past in search of some of the earliest dinosaurs. Next time on Dino Hunt, 2 teams will try to solve one of the Earth's greatest mysteries. What killed the dinosaurs? Was it an asteroid? Or were they already in trouble when it slammed into the planet?